Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm the Third Army.
Hi, I'm Adam, and I just don't understand this war business.
And we don't podcast.
But what we did do is we watched the other Hobbit movie. You know why you're here.
This is the third one. This is the third Hobbit movie, the final. The Battle of the Five Armies. I think that's a bad name because there's technically, I guess there's technically five, but there's like four armies. Split in two, one of them. Right?
In the books, there's 5 armies.
What's the fifth army?
The 5th army is the Eagles.
That counts as an army?
Yep. Yeah, so this is the worst one.
I'm going to be honest, this was my favorite.
And we don't podcast.
Okay, let's get into our overall thoughts. Why is this the worst one for you?
Okay. So the whole thing's like a big battle, right? They're trying to do a Return of the King thing where like the whole movie's one really big battle. Except it's just not as good at all.
See, my favorite parts about this movie, I just ignored all the battle parts. The things I really liked weren't anything to do with any of the battles. Like, I found the idea of them politicking more interesting. I liked Thorin's dissent. I liked his discussion with Bard quite a bit. When they were discussing, it was like, you betrayed me. Like, every time like Thorin was discussing stuff with people, like, I really liked that. Like, one for his madness and two for his, like, understanding of like, oh, we as a people we're trying to do this and we've been let down by the elves and then the men and stuff. Like, and as pertains to how the movie stuff has been laid out, I quite like all that stuff, and Bilbo having a little bit more agency and actively participating. Like, I like how I complained in the second movie that Bilbo and Thorin didn't do as much. I like that they were both more active as characters, like progressing the story. I think so. I think this is just the end result of how I was feeling with the second movie, where I said the second movie I enjoyed more than the first, but it's technically worse. I feel like this is the logical conclusion to my feelings, where I'm like, I really liked a lot of stuff in this movie, but there's just big like pieces where I'm like, I just was not paying attention. Of just like the battles, I was like, I didn't care. like when Thorin and everyone was battling Azog's second army, but when they went up there, I kind of just checked out. I think technically this, like, if you don't like the fighting at all, then this is probably like pretty bad because it's mostly fighting. Or if you do like fighting and you're disappointed, that's also.
You see, I really like fighting. Yeah. I just thought that the fighting in this one wasn't good.
Well, that's what I mean. Like there's a lot of fighting, so if you don't like fighting,
here's how to make fighting good in a movie, right? Yeah. First, you got to get me to care about it. So, like, it has to mean something for either the characters or the plot that it's happening. Mm-hmm. Which means you have to care about the plot and the characters, but
yes.
Make me care about the fight first.
Yeah.
And then you got to do something interesting with it.
Well, yeah.
They did some interesting things with it, but I did not care about the battle at all.
I agree. That's why for me I was like, I checked out, which I think that as a critique for the movie, like, technically that's really bad. I should not be checked.
A solid like 2/3 of the runtime is just gone.
Yes. So for me, like that. However, by then I had already hit things that I really liked, so I was like, I'm okay with this rest of this movie just being boring as shit. Like, I think that's kind of where I settled at. So I think that's why I really enjoyed this, because I didn't mind as much as I thought I would Smaug getting killed early. Just because they talked a lot about, like, his weak point and stuff, and that he did actually kill a lot of people, and there were like ramifications for it. Like, so I thought that it was handled better than, I guess, my presumption, so that helped. although like there were things I quite disliked, and like I said, technically this does fall short on a lot of things. Like logically, lots of doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Like there were a few moments in the Lord of the Rings that like sort of physics and logic took sort of a backseat for like a small little cool moment here and there, like with Legolas sliding down the stairs on the shield.
Yeah.
But in this one, they're really fucking cranking that.
Yeah.
They're like really like fucking. We're going into like Bollywood territory now.
Yeah.
But like not like the good Bollywood where they actually get you to care about the characters and the plot.
And also they're trying to be like that, extreme with their filmmaking and stuff, or their direction. Yeah. This one they're like, no, like this is grounded. like in the Bollywood, Hollywood, all those films, like they know it's not as grounded. Yeah. Here they're like, no, trust me.
No, guys, we're Hollywood. We have a proud tradition of making grounded, realistic, gritty action.
Yeah.
Legolas climbing up these falling blocks as if they're stairs is realistic. His legs are just that strong.
His legs are just crazy. So I think for me, I think there are bits in this that I enjoyed the most out of any of the films, because I feel like, to me, they're interesting either character choices, there's interesting ramifications, and all that stuff to me was very engaging. However, if it was just that, then I would say this movie is fantastic. But this movie is very long and has a lot of not that stuff just going on. Which, a lot of it is battles that are not as, compared to a movie that I guess we're going to be talking about after this comes out at some point, like in Bahubali, like they had interesting army stuff, like in terms of battles, like just in terms of the way, the ebb and flow of it. This one,
there's a little bit of that, yeah. But it certainly wasn't the focus.
Yeah, which I think really hampered it because there was such a large time on the battle stuff.
Yeah.
And then after this large battle, they cut to like smaller fights, which I feel like didn't pay off super well. Like they had a fake out with Azog where he fell into the water, and I thought he was dead for a second. I was like, "There's no way he dies like this." I'm like, "That's so dumb." And then he didn't, and then by then I was kind of like, "Well, okay." Like I guess this was where it was going, which made me feel less engaged.
Damn, Thorin, you're supposed to be like this great legendary warrior, and you stood on the exact spot where his arm would reach and stab you through the foot. Nice, dude. That's some great battle strategy right there.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get into the minute details. So, like, overall, I enjoyed it. There are bits of this I really enjoyed, so I enjoyed the film as a whole, but I think that's partially because I blocked, like...
It was a
lot. I think so much of it for me was just so neutral, where I was just kind of like, I wasn't in that movie mindset, where I was just like, well, I got what I came for, and I expect to be more disappointed, so maybe that helped.
Yeah, you got to like the hour mark when Thorin joined the battle, and you were like, all right, time to take a nap.
Kind of, it felt like. Then and you with your overall thoughts?
You see, in the first Hobbit. Mm-hmm. There were 2 scenes I really liked. Mm-hmm. In the second Hobbit, there was 1 scene I really liked.
Okay.
In this scene, there are 0 scenes that I really like. I like... There is one shot visually that I think is pretty cool, where it's like the madness Thorin dreamscape hallucinating when he's like standing on the flat plane of gold.
Yeah, I like that too.
It's a really cool visual, but it's not something that I would go back and watch the movie for at all.
Yeah, it doesn't like
it's not even something that I would. It's not even significant enough of a scene for me to like go and search up on YouTube to go and find. And that was the best part of the film.
I did quite like that. I think there are other things for me that, like I said, we'll get to them that I felt like a lot more either engaged or interested in. Yeah. But obviously, this is not for everyone. It's not going to be for everyone. And even with that, I still understand the critiques of this movie. So, yeah, I can understand this being your least favorite and the worst. I get it. I just think I enjoyed it the most, just because of these specific parts, personally.
And you needed a nap.
And I needed a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good background noise.
Okay. Oh, we didn't even do tea time. Tea time, we forgot tea. But here's our setup.
Set design. It's symbolic.
Is it? What's it symbolic for?
Just go with it.
No,
all right,
explain to our audience.
Okay. Tea brings energy, right?
Sure.
And the setup is necessary to provide that energy. So by having the setup, but not providing the energy, we are like a car without gas, a plane without fuel,
that's the same analogy.
Gun without gunpowder.
Okay.
We can do things, but are ultimately producing nothing, for we are empty. Just like how our podcast produces nothing fulfilling to life outside of our own personal grievances with the world. We are nothing, we accomplish nothing, this is pointless, just like this film. You want to know why, Chris? You want to know why this film is pointless?
Why, Adam?
Because in the book...
Okay.
In the book... Bilbo was asleep for the whole battle.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Why?
It was either... I can't remember if he took a nap or if he got knocked unconscious. But the battle starts and he's like, oh my god, the battle of 3 armies, man, elf, and dwarf. Oh my god, there's a 4th army, orcs. There's eagles now? It's a battle of 5 armies? Oh no! And then he wakes up and it's over.
That might sound worse than the movie. Like, what the heck?
Well, okay. Thematically, it makes sense.
Okay. How so?
I was told that it thematically makes sense.
Because he's just so disengaged, or what? He was me during this movie. He just checked out.
Okay, so the reason why in the book the dwarves go to war with everyone else is not because Thorin went gold mad. Mm-hmm. It's because it was a matter of pride that that the gold in the mountain was mined by the dwarves, and so it should belong to the dwarves.
Okay.
But the elves have a claim to it, and so do the humans.
Yes.
So they go to war out of pride, out of principle, out of the warrior's code, the fire in their bellies. And then at the end of the battle, Thorin's fucking dying, and Bilbo comes up to him, he's like, oh, how'd the battle go? He's like, we won, but I'm dying. If more people were like you, Bilbo, who don't understand war, maybe this world would be a better place. Oh, and he dies.
Okay.
It's like a moral or some shit.
Yes. Okay. Because in this one, the themes focus more on, greed, and which I liked. I thought it was a little on the nose, but I liked, because, Thorin going crazy with all the gold and stuff. I don't know, I know I'm going to probably get some slack for this. I didn't mind it. I know it's a movie original thing with I'm assuming the dragons... Whatever, what they call it? Dragon sickness or some shit?
Dragon disease?
Yeah. Where just basically you become, corrupt and gold and stuff. Okay. You know why I also really liked it? Because I like that it showed that, this greed, can consume people and stuff, and which,
and then visual metaphor, he falls in the gold.
Yes, but, I think that's all fine. But I like that also it was brought up, and I'm going to say... This works because of the additions of the Sauron stuff. I liked the...
Okay, back up a second.
Okay.
Okay. So, you like that there's sort of this... gold makes you more, greed makes you a bad person.
I liked the way it was done. personally. I mean, I get that that's not the most groundbreaking themes.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll accept that. How does the Sauron subplot fit into this at all?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
You
see, we don't have a script, so I couldn't tell where that was in the teleprompter.
So I like that Gandalf says at one point that this, like, the Arkenstone, the gold or whatever, like, it can corrupt people's hearts, and, you know, this, like, greed, like, helps people be bad, right? Or it can make someone, you know, tempted to do terrible things.
More money, more problems.
Yeah, I like that he specifically shows that Bilbo isn't corrupted by this. And I like that because, you know, in the second movie, when Bilbo is shown to be hungry for having the ring, I like that the ring is shown to be this even, like, more grandiose, more, like, evil-inducing thing. For me, I thought that's, like, I found that to be very interesting, and how it, like, lays that out. Like, I know that those aren't, like, the main focus of the film or anything, but I like that the idea that, like, even the uncorruptible can be corrupted with this ring, like, it's a layer there, and which makes me, you know, which, like Frodo a lot, because even, you know, he eventually gets to come, but, you know, he's trying to resist this stuff and, like, doing, you know, best you can. I think that all kind of works pretty well. I enjoy that part of the film when they talk about when it has the layer of, oh, this greed makes you corrupt. It corrupts these people, but not Bilbo. But even Bilbo is succumbing to, like, the corruption of this even darker, like,
it shows
entity.
how powerful that entity is.
Yes, and I like that. That is why I like it. But both of those things are movie only things, I assume. So I could see people not liking that.
It also the Sauron stuff didn't really need to be in the film.
Well, I agree. That's why, like, I like that specific thing on its own, but in context of, like, all this other stuff that didn't need to be there, I'm kind of like,
not all is bad, not all is good. Yin and yang. There is some of the other in the one.
Yes. But the Sauron stuff I thought was dumb, because we talked about in the second one, he was more powerful in this, and I was like, what are you doing? But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I wanted to talk about, like, there were things I enjoyed in this movie quite a bit. That being said, the stuff surrounding that is all pretty not great. So, overall,
I heard some water dripping into the fireplace, but I guess not.
Overall, there were things I liked. It's not very good, technically, but I think I enjoy this movie quite a bit. Adam?
I did not enjoy this movie.
And?
We don't podcast.
I thought you were going to say, and I also think it's a bad movie.
Oh, and I also think it's a bad movie, yes.
Yeah.
Because it was not very good.
Yep. So do you want to go through it a little bit, or?
Sure, yeah.
We don't have to.
Actually, yeah, we should. There's some stuff I want to say about this stuff.
Okay, so we got the Master and Alfred trying to get away because Smaug's coming.
Fun thing. Alfred and the Master and on the books.
Yes.
So, Bard, like, after the dragon attacks and Bard kills the dragon, the people of Lake Town just make him king.
Oh.
And so he leads the humans as a professional army, as one of the five in the battle. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it kind of does that, but he was more a reluctant leader than a full-on noble leader. Alfred gets a lot of screen time in this movie.
Alfred sucks.
Yeah, it's awful. That's one of the things I really didn't like about this, where I was like, there are some bits where I was like, it's okay-ish, but overall I'm like, why are they giving him so much screen time?
They could have just killed him off when the dragon attacked, but no, we gotta have him as comic relief.
Yeah, which I thought was very strange.
And have fake gold doubloon boobs that fall out when he falls down.
Yeah. I thought it was a very strange choice, adding him in as a whole, as a character. Like,
this is Hollywood, Chris. We need the comic relief for all this scary stuff.
It felt like they were doing like the Gimli stuff in the Lord of the Rings to an 11, and they didn't realize that the knob was broken. They're like, please tone it down. So yeah, I all the Alfred stuff was just pretty bad. Like, it was kind of like how we were scared of Perito being in.
Yes, you see, this is we were expecting the dog from the Cat movie to be to be like this guy from the fantasy movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
All comes back. Smaug is killing more people than I thought, which I liked. I liked people dying.
Same.
I did
Death
like...
is based.
I did like that there were consequences to like all the stuff that was happening. I enjoyed that.
Yes.
I feel bad for everyone, bar a few of them, but like...
I also like it when actions have consequences.
Mm-hmm. That's always a plus. Yeah. Do that movies more. Who am I talking to? The writers are at home now, right? Because they're not working. That's
right.
So writers, take notes.
Step 1, write better. Step 2, get paid.
Get paid. I said SMH, the dwarves killed so many. That's probably one thing I do wish there was more consequences for. Like, them addressing that the dwarves kind of led Smaug to kill them.
Yeah.
But they do address it a little bit. I wish they addressed it more. We'll get there. I put when Bard was making the manual bow and arrow with his like son and the other stuff, I was like, I don't know if the string's that strong. Like,
well, no, the string wouldn't be the issue. The issue would be like the sticks on the side would probably just like come off when he pulled the string back, and his son wouldn't be standing still enough to actually get any accuracy.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you know, this movie's trying to be like Bollywood, kinda.
Yeah, because he gets the perfect shot in. Which
on the one time that he can make the perfect shot.
Yeah, it's like, okay. So, and yeah, it is one of those things where it's like Smaug's built up for so long, and then in the beginning of this movie he kind of dies, which is like, oh, okay. But I do like that after that there are like ramifications for like, you know, who gets the wealth and stuff, and you know, why are we here? Like, what are we doing? So I don't think I hated the Smaug dying early as much as maybe some people might have. A lot of time in Alfred still. He's doing stuff. He's like... There was one line I thought was very funny when one of the guys was like, I want to see him hanging from the tree. I was like, brutal. But then then Bard's like, no, don't hurt him. And then Alfred...
He's our comic relief. We have to have a scene of him
doing
catapulted into a troll's mouth, and that's how he dies.
Is that how he dies?
I think so.
I don't remember. I checked out the last part of the movie.
I really don't care about his character, so I do not remember much about it. But
I put Thorin looks like his granddad, which I liked. You know, it's a cycle.
Yeah, they made him sound like Smaug.
At one point, yes.
Yeah. But I will not part with a single coin.
Yeah, he very much encompasses all the other people that are like greedy and that have been shown and power hungry. It's I like that stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I thought when they showed Bilbo that he took the Arkenstone, I was like, I thought he took it when they first showed it in the second movie, but then they never addressed it, so I just thought I was wrong. But no, he did take it. He was just hiding it.
He was a burglar.
He's a burglar. He's burglaring. I said, now that Smaug is dead, everyone has nothing to fear. Which I think it's a little funny that when Smaug is dead, everyone's like, oh, now we can go to the castle, or to Erebor, right? And take all the gold and stuff. But I don't know. Part of me is like none of these armies are scared of the person that killed Smaug. like they don't look at Bard like, oh shit, like he killed a dragon. None of us could do it. But I'm like, maybe just because, you know, it's one of those things where I forgot what someone said, but like if you kill like Billy the Kid, like you don't become him, right? You're just the guy that killed him. Like Billy the Kid's still the one that's scary. So same thing with Smaug, right? He was scary, but.
Sure, I mean, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, Bard as a presence, he seems more like a debonair, like he used to be cool and swashbuckling, but now he's just kind of jaded.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking that people's perception of Bard, right, like outside of the humans, they just hear that this guy
they didn't really acknowledge it much at all.
Yeah, I was like, this guy killed a dragon, and then
now I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I guess it's not a big deal. Like, but Azog has a giant army, not an army of giants, a giant army.
Yeah.
I said they go to Gundabad, which is an orc stronghold, where apparently Legolas's mom died. They don't really focus on that ever. Gandalf is still captured, but then Galadriel comes. Oh, yeah. Galadriel comes in and then bite and blast.
No, she like gets knocked out first, but then after Elrond fights off some of the Nine, then she wakes back up when Sauron appears, and I banish you. Pew!
Yeah, bite and blast, and then she blasts them. They do the ring saying there's like the 3 rings of power for the elven lords or whatever, and then the 7 for the dwarf lords and the 9 for the.
Do you remember this from Lord of the Rings?
That was the intro. Yes.
Do you remember it, audience? Do you remember that this is connected to Lord of the Rings?
I said the Nazgul be looking CGI.
Oh yeah, they looked terrible.
Yeah. Also, they were stronger in this, and because I put it takes all of them to fight the Nazgul, but it only takes one Aragorn
to fight off like 7 of them.
Yeah, I was like, Aragorn had a stick of fire and fought all of them, but then all of like Saruman, Galadriel, Elrond.
And Gandalf together are having trouble.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the heck?
And apparently they can teleport now.
Yeah, they go
and like glitch in and out of existence. Just like how we just glitched in and out of existence.
Whoa! We do that sometimes here on I Don't Podcast. So yeah, what? Huh?
It's just such a shame, Chris. This movie could have been so alright if it was like one movie, maybe 2 parts, but it made 3 parts. Now it's just
honestly,
bad.
Yeah, they just cut out stuff from, because like I said, there are things I really liked, even with the additions of different like plot lines or whatever. Like I feel like just cutting it down, I feel like would have streamlined it way better. But no. I put Galadriel beats Sauron, soft magic system.
Oh yeah, she beats him by holding up the light of Elendil, which she gives to Frodo to fight off the spider she lobbed.
Yeah.
But in this, like in Lord of the Rings, it's just like a fancy light that the spider hates because it lives in a dark cave. Mm-hmm. In this one, it's like a grand source of magic. It's the light of God. It's the Kamehameha button.
Kamehameha. No, you're right. We cut back to Bilbo and Balin, and Balin's like, oh, maybe it's a good thing that Thorin hasn't found the Arkenstone, because he's going kind of mad, and that would make him worse. It's like, and then Bilbo's like, I'm vindicated.
I was right.
Yeah.
You fucking idiots are out over here with the gold, dumbass.
I kept thinking that Thorin was like the Mad King in Game of Thrones. I kept waiting for him to say, burn them all. just because of the way he was acting.
For Jaime Lannister to come in and stab him.
Yeah, Bilbo Lannister to come.
Bilbo Lannister.
I put Moose.
Wait, no.
Oh.
Azog, because he doesn't have a hand. Connections.
I put Moose because Thranduil rides in on a big old moose thing.
I thought it was an elk.
Might be an elk, but it had giant antlers.
I thought it was an elephant.
I saw giant antlers and I was like, oh, moose.
Big fleshy tusk, snout.
It went. Yeah. No, you're thinking of Bahubali.
Damn it.
I put. Okay, this was before the armies really started showing up, but I said war. Like, there's like a dozen dwarves and 2 armies against them.
Oh yeah, so we haven't gotten there quite yet, but there's a scene where the second dwarf army is defending against a push by the orcs, and he's like, yeah, the leader of this dwarf army is like, "Where's Thorin? We need Thorin!" And the audience is in the theater is just like, "Oh my god, they have 12 dwarves." 12 dwarves are not going to change the battle.
Yeah. Also, how does he know that he's not there? Like, they're in the middle of the fight. Like, he doesn't know.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
No. It's supposed to be dramatic, but you kind of get taken out of it a little bit.
Also, in some of his speech, like, some of his dialogue implies that Thorin is the king of the dwarves, but he isn't king of the dwarves. He's king of some dwarves that used to live in this mountain.
Yes.
He's not leading
all the dwarves.
No.
More problem.
You see, shit don't make sense.
Well, before we get all the way over there, there's Thorin and Bard. Then they start having a conversation because Bard wants to.
Oh, like through the hole in the wall.
And I like that conversation. That's one of the things I really liked about this movie. And I liked it because it talks about how Thorin felt, undermined by, men and by the elves trying to help them, like only help them when, they need stuff, or not helping them at all and ignoring them. And then with Bard being, correct that Thorin did like a lot of bad stuff, or like that there's consequences to them taking over because Smaug came and attacked them. I just really like the conversation back because like you can kind of get both sides a little bit.
Yeah. You see, that shit makes sense.
Yeah. So it was good. That's a good scene. I liked it. Then we get the mithril chainmail, which I was like, isn't that like the most expensive thing here? like, why is everyone else like?
Yeah.
But then no one like focuses on it. I'm like, that's kind of important, right? Like mithril's pretty crazy. But whatever, Arkenstone shenanigans.
Also, since Rings of Power is the one true canon, isn't all of the mithril in Moria, not in Erebor?
That's where they focus on it, yeah. But I mean, I don't think that's the only place where there is.
Okay.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
We'll have to see in season 2 for the one true canon.
The one true canon. That's also being written without writers. That's gonna be a shit.
The writers are striking, and I'm gonna have a fucking stroke.
But yeah, I put Thorin only trusts Bilbo for some reason, where he's just like, Bilbo, I'm being betrayed. Like they're all around me. And then they start talking about fighting. Then Bilbo takes the Arkenstone and gives it to
the Elf King.
Yeah, and discount Aragorn.
Discount Aragorn.
And I kind of I like that Bilbo like made a choice of
yes.
Like, this is what I want to do. I want to try to help him. And then they end up, having the confrontation where Thorin's like, that's not real, and Bilbo's like, it's real. Like I gave it to them. I wanted, this for what's going to happen. And I like that the dwarves weren't immediately like, yeah, let's throw Bilbo off. They're like, this is kind of a lot. And Thorin's kind of going crazy. Just like, I want the Arkenstone, but I also want my gold. Fuck everyone.
I am the dragon sickness.
And
Animorphs.
Animorphs. And this is the last time that we see the Arkenstone, and it's never brought up again. It's so bad. I like this one, I swear.
The Arkenstone wasn't in the book, so
I know.
Yeah.
But like they could have had like a conclusion with it.
Where's the Arkenstone now?
Maybe. Let's see.
Dude, they took the Arkenstone and they split it up into 6 different stones and put food coloring on them all. And that's how they got the Thanos. That's how they got the Thanos stones.
The Infinity Stones. The Thanos Stones. Let's see. The Lands of Agmar. I wrote that down for some reason. Was Erebor mentioned in Lord of the Rings? Because it feels pretty important here, but it wasn't that important in
maybe.
Okay, because it seems like it wasn't that important in the grand scheme of like battling Sauron. But
no, it isn't.
But it sounds like this. They
in the film they make it seem like it is.
Yeah,
because they have to get on the megaphone and shout, "Hey guys, remember Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Remember how you really liked that trilogy from over 10 years ago?"
Yes. Let's see. Here's where I wrote down the dragon's sickness corrupts most, but not Bilbo. But the ring still corrupts him. We talked about this already. That's fine. If they can convince Thorin, no, you can't. So we already talked about this. After Bilbo's escaping from Thorin's wrath, and they say, "Hey, Thorin, are we gonna fight, or what's going on?" And then Thorin waits a little bit, and he's like, look at my cousin Dain." And then Dain's army comes in, and that's them.
Oh yeah, I want your opinion on cousin Dain.
Is he CGI? Because his face, I thought, looked a little.
So
CG.
I think I'm pretty sure they used a real actor, but I think that all of like the other dwarves, they have prosthetics for like the faces and the beard and stuff. But he just straight up looked like a character out of like Warhammer Total War.
Yeah.
Or like
he had tusks.
Yeah, he had tusks. Like the scenes where it was just like him and the army in the background, I felt like I was watching a World of Warcraft cinematic.
Because you probably were. Yeah, I remember seeing him first. I was like, he looks weird. I wasn't sure what it was. I was like, there's no way he's CG, right? But I think he was. Like there are parts of it.
My guess is that they used a real actor, took a couple features from his face, and replaced the rest with CGI. That's my guess.
Yeah. But it looks very off-putting. Yeah. Gandalf says, I thought Dane's the lesser of him and Thorin in terms of conversation or reason.
I've always thought that Thorin was the more reasonable one.
Yeah, but then Dain doesn't do anything that's unreasonable, really.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that the elf soldiers are like, they look like they're from an army where they're like doing their moves, like setting up and with their bows and their swords and shit. They're like ready. I like that a lot. I don't know. Then the fights with the orcs start happening, and we get the full on battle, and it's chaotic. There's a giant war beast with like a juggernaut helmet on that rams into.
Oh yeah, I like that guy.
I did too. I like that he rammed and then immediately gets knocked out because his head trauma.
That's kind of funny. And then completely straight faced, no expressions for the next like hour after.
Yeah. Let's see. We talked about the Thorin like being on the thing of gold and then looking like he's
cool visual.
Yeah, cool visual.
Metaphor.
Simile. I kind of liked him hearing himself and the other voices and stuff. I mean, like it's a little like on the nose of he's having this epiphany and not really many
There's
steps to get there. There's
voices in this gold. Oh no.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like Thorin kind of snapped out of it quickly enough when he was just by himself.
He throws down the crown.
He does. And then in the middle of the fights, I was like, shouldn't the sun be affecting the orcs in any capacity?
Well, in the one true canon, Rings of Power,
the one true canon,
the orcs are affected by the sun.
Yes.
In the
the
heretical blasphemy of Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson, the orcs are unaffected by the sun.
And then in The Hobbit, they're even less affected by the sun. But Alfred's got more screen time. I talked about the ring turning from a plot device into a MacGuffin. Fili and Kili die. That sucks, I guess.
Which makes all of the scenes with the elf lady, and their romance completely pointless.
Tariel, not pointless. Like it's like, oh, it's a tragedy. Not like you're not seeing it as a payoff. You're seeing it as a tragedy. I mean, I didn't really care that much, but
okay, all right.
But that was the point. The point that it was supposed to be a tragedy. But I don't think that we got enough of them because
we didn't get enough makeout scenes between Keely and the elf.
They met each other once while he was in prison, and they're just like, oh, he's just so attractive, and then they just kind of be a little bit flirtatious and stuff. People try to shoehorn in all these hetero romances for no reason, and it's fucking annoying because they do it poorly.
Fili and Keely should have gotten together.
I did not say this. That was all Adam. The twin brothers.
The twin brothers should have gotten together.
Let's see. I put Flying Legolas.
Flying Legolas? Because when he's jumping up the rocks? Oh, no,
Where did I put this?
He was like on the top of a tower, and then he like flings himself onto the mountain, right?
No, I remember where this was. I think he grabbed onto one of like the
one of the bat things,
things, and he's just like flying. I was like, all right, I put Bilbo's out, where he gets knocked out after he tries to warn Thorin about what's happening. Like, there's a second orc army. It's like, okay.
He did get knocked out in the book, or he fell asleep. I don't remember.
Okay, he was not awake.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I put when Keely was dying, I was like, this is so fucking dramatic because they kept just cutting to him and then to Tariel and then to him and they just kept looking at each other. It's like, you're stabbed, dude. You're dead. I thought that was a little annoying. Personally, thought it was a little annoying.
Personally, I might be able to see why people think that Keely and Fili have very great romantic chemistry.
You just shut the fuck up. I put Legolas, the perfect strategist, where he knocks over the tower to become a bridge.
Oh yeah,
I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, I put the whole second army stuff was very underwhelming when Thorin and everyone was up there and Legolas. I was just so uninterested. And the army battles in general, like giant battles don't necessarily intrigue me because they're just hordes of not the main characters that you're connected to just fighting. So unless there's like specific,
well, I mean, if you're going the Hollywood strategy of not having any like tactics at all, then yeah.
And so, but then going even further, I was like, this is just like not that interesting. Like these are characters I like. Some of them, like I like Legolas, and I just was kind of checked out, which sucks. I shouldn't need to feel that. I put plot eagles show up.
The Fifth Army in the book.
Does it make sense that they could just do whatever they want?
In the book, they talk.
Why don't they talk in the movies?
Because that would be stupid and unrealistic and not grounded.
But what about the live action Lion King?
Dude, I want to see a live action Scar fight the Skin Changer.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, the Skin Changer.
He yeah, that's the second scene he has, and that's it. And he does a lot of damage. Imagine a whole family of them. But they were captured.
Yeah, they were captured easily and tortured.
Yes.
For sport.
Okay, so Azog falls into the water, and I thought that was such a stupid scene.
Yeah, the camera lingers on it so you know that he's not dead. Hollywood.
Yeah. But when before it even starts to linger, I literally rewound because I was like, this is not the scene I think it is, right? Because I was like, this is so dumb. Then I was like, oh, Thorin murder-suicide? Where he gets impaled, he pushes it in and then stabs Azog. Because, if Azog's not in this, how does Thorin die in the books?
Oh, the battle happens, half the dwarves die. And Thorin is, like, bandaged up but still dying, and that's when Bilbo comes in and is like, Thorin, so... And then...
So he's just randomly dying?
Well, I mean, it's implied that there were a lot of deaths on the battlefield, and Thorin happened to be one of them. Yes. Because war is chaotic, and people die. And that's, like, the point of it is, like, oh, war is stupid. Thanks, Bilbo.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That is very thematic and probably more fitting. And justifiably less satisfying as a narrative structure. Because, you want him to die at least to something important, but the lack of that is the point.
Like, in this film, I think it would be more thematically appropriate for Thorin to live.
A little bit.
Because like, he overcomes the greed consuming him, so it's not going to be, like, a greed being his own downfall thing.
Yeah.
So he's rejected that and turned back to being, like a warrior hero. Mm-hmm. So wouldn't it, like, at that point in the film, it would make more sense for him to triumph?
Yes, probably. That's why the ending's not great. So a lot of things aren't great in this movie. There are things I like, though. Let's keep going. We're almost done. Why did I put Dundain? Is that a place? Dunedain?
Dunedain.
And then they talk about Strider. It's like, hey, I know that name.
Yeah, that's where Aragorn's from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's your thing, right?
Remember Lord of the Rings?
Remember Lord of the Rings? I do. I remember. I was there. I did kind of like the line where Thranduil sees what's her name? I keep forgetting her name. Tariel over Achilles' body, and then she says, "Why does it hurt so much?" And then he says, "'Cause it was real." I like that. Reminded me of a scene in WandaVision where Vision says, like, grief is just love persevering. Like, I like that type of like theme where love, like, you're hurting because of love, because it was important, it was real and valuable. I like that.
God, if only
I cared about the love.
If only I cared about the love. If only I cared about the characters. And if only this wasn't super fucking cheesy, maybe I'd enjoy it.
I did say I like that line. Yeah, I like that even with the 3-day romance. So the battle's basically over. They defeated people. Once they defeated Azog, they all won.
Citizens of Lake Town,
And the Eagles,
we've won the battle. Our homes are destroyed. This other place that we could have set up is destroyed. The mountain is populated by dwarves and will not let us in. We are homeless and we are victorious.
Everyone wins. It's really, really satisfying. Let's see. I do like when Bilbo's parting with the dwarves. That he's just like, oh, they're welcome anytime, no need to knock and stuff. I was like, oh, I like that. Coming back to that, where he was annoyed by everyone like knocking and coming in, and he's like, but now they're homies.
Oh, dude. I just had like a fucking brain explosion right then.
A brain blast, almost.
Yeah, brain blast. Fucking, they call it homie because you let them in your home because they're your friend.
Yeah. Congratulations. And also, okay, so then it shows Gandalf and Bilbo. In Lord of the Rings, I thought Gandalf didn't know that Bilbo had a ring. In the books, does he know that he has a ring?
In the books, he knows that Bilbo has a ring.
Okay.
He doesn't know that he has the ring.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So he just knows that it's just a ring.
Yeah.
Like, makes you invisible.
Oh, well, this is pretty useful that you found that, Bilbo.
Yeah. Neat. Although in this, because we know the Lord of the Rings is later, it is very off-putting having Gandalf and Bilbo's last meeting here. Like have Gandalf go.
What, ring?
Like be careful. And he's just like looking at him.
Yeah,
like,
they imply that Gandalf knows what the ring is.
Yeah, that has some inkling. But
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah, especially like right after he just defeated Sauron.
Yeah.
that he would think about that ring and not ask to see it and confirm what it is.
Yeah, it's very dumb. But that only happens because of the Sauron bits that are in here, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, I put, when does Gandalf find out about Gollum? Because he explains Gollum to Frodo, but in the movies, Bilbo never talks about Gollum. He never says Gollum, this person Gollum.
In the 50 years between...
Yeah,
I think there's got to be like some point in there where Bilbo talks to Gandalf. Oh yeah, remember that ring, the thing? Yeah, I got it from this weird gray looking dude.
Yeah. But I thought like, oh, it's the perfect like time to talk about it. There was a couple times where he could have talked about Gollum, but he just didn't. I thought that was weird. And then I don't know. And then it transitions to Lord of the Rings, to where Gandalf shows up and Bilbo's like, "Oh, my old friend, ooh,
let's smoke."
Yeah.
And then they smoke.
Then that's the end of the movie.
We are back again.
Yes. Before we go into, I guess, conclusions, any other stuff that I know I skipped through things. I skipped through the non-important things, which there's a lot of. So
most of the movie, in fact.
Is there anything else you want to talk about during this movie that you were just like, I need to get this off my chest?
Oh man, I was watching this. I started and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna like cut up some apples and watch this movie, and then I never cut up some apples.
I'm so sorry. Okay, then.
I didn't get my apples 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie was fine. It was actually kind of bad. I still liked quite a bits of it. I think kind of checking out and thinking it was going to be really bad helped. So I enjoyed it more. But it is technically not very good.
It is at best mediocre. That's the way I'd put it.
But I did enjoy quite a bits of it. So if it was focused more on those things, it'd be really good. Actually, I quite like it a lot. But it didn't. I just, like I said, like it's like I think like you've said before too. There's just too much. Like there really just didn't need to be as much as there was. And if they just cut down a lot of the fluff, it would have been a lot more cohesive. And I think if they took out a lot of the Sauron stuff, I think that those are probably the main complaints. Which, I mean, it's justifiable, right? And if that those are the main complaints.
I think that the movie would be better if it was better, Chris.
I gave specific points, but yes, anything would be better if they were better.
God, I wish I was better. And we don't podcast.
Thanks for watching. Don't be corrupted by the ring or some gold.
If you get the dragon disease, get yourself to a hospital, and they'll take all your money away real quick.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's get out of here.